No, I'm not into fashion. I mean, the really cool thing is have very good relationships with Johnny Versace personally, with Dolce Gabbana, with John Franco Ferre, with Donna Karan. I mean, I literally work with these people. I most people say, "Oh, did you get all the clothes?" No, I didn't get any of the clothes. Does this look fashionable to you?
Hey guys, welcome to the Troy Gramling podcast. As always, it's an honor for us to be able to hang out, and I love getting to talk to some interesting people about their story so that we can all really learn how to live more productive lives, how to reach our potential. It's exciting to think that every single one of us that are listening or watching on YouTube or Rumble actually have a destiny, a purpose for which we were created. And I can't think of anybody better to talk to today than my guest, Gregg Avedon, a great friend and an incredible human being. Gregg, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Pastor Troy. I appreciate you having me. It's obviously it's an honor just to be here, and I miss you like crazy. I miss seeing you in person.
Well, Gregg and I got together when I continued to be consistent and helped me take care of myself, really. And some of those times with dizziness and some of the stuff that I was wrestling with, you really made a difference. So I appreciate your friendship. And like you said, I miss the opportunity to get together and not only work out, but just talk about life.
Yeah, I miss those times too. I remember. I mean, we definitely had a lot of great conversations, and I was so lucky because I got to kind of get a little bit of an inside track on what you were going to be teaching that week. You would run a lot of stuff by me, and not only that, but just talking about health, wellness, life. You were there when I had a situation with my dad. I remember that.
Yes.
That meant a lot that you were there. So, but there was just such great times, and I do miss it. And I remember, like you're saying, you're going through that spell of dizziness. So we were training you upright a lot, and trying to work you through that. So, I hope that that's behind you now.
Yes. Well, it is. I still struggle with that a little bit, but not near like I did. And I'm able to be consistent. As I have gotten closer to the weight that we were working towards when we worked out, you were the first person I wanted to send a text to and let them know I'm making progress.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you were telling me that you and Steph were, training together. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. That's great.
So, Gregg, you are you're a in fitness trainer, model. I mean, you inventor. You've done so much in your time. Let's start at the beginning. How did you get started, especially into the health and fitness and modeling? Which came first, the modeling or fitness, or how did that play out?
Well, it started with fitness. So when I was young in high school, I really struggled. Just, just having the confidence in myself. And I was a little skinny kid. And so I remember the day that I walked into the gym at my high school and I saw it for the first time, and everything kind of came together. It clicked for me immediately. I just knew this really felt like the right thing for me, like the answer to what I had been looking for, that search of like, coming into my own. Did I know that at the time? Probably not, but it was just something that I could look back on and remember how I felt. And I was completely obsessed from the age of 15. And so by the time I was 17, entered my first bodybuilding contest. In my teens, I ended up competing in 22 bodybuilding contests back then, and I did really well. And then eventually, I had these aspirations of wanting to look like Arnold. Of course, we all did at that time.
Oh yeah.
And it got to the point where I said, this might not be in the cards for me without doing something artificial, and I didn't really want to do that. But I had tremendous success at that time in my life. It was a time of tremendous growth. And so, went away to college and so forth. Then Fast forward to graduating in graphic design with minor in photography and art history. So I was a photographer. I was doing art history, and then of course a graphic artist. And I was struggling, and I got discovered in a mall, a Dadeland Mall down
Oh,
in South
really?
Florida. And so it was kind of funny because I was just in the mall searching for a Father's Day gift for my dad. And this woman came up to me and she said, "Excuse me, are you a model?" And I said, "No." And she says, "Do you want to be a model?" And I said, "No, not really, not particular." And so then she said, "Well, I'll tell you what, take my card." And she pulls out this crumpled card. She's like unflattening this card. And it was called Beauty Works, this place. And so she said, "Call me if you're interested." So, fast forward 2 weeks, I'm struggling. I was trying to do freelance art and it just wasn't happening. And so I decided to give this woman a call. And so I heard her put the phone up to her chest and say, "It's that guy. It's that guy." So I was like, "Oh, So she says, "Listen, I want you to go to this photographer. He's going to shoot pictures of you. I want you to take those pictures and bring them right back to me." So I said, "Oh, okay, sure." So I go see this photographer. His name was Chuck St. John. I think he's still shooting actually. But so he shoots these pictures, and he has this like it's a way that they could roll and develop the like slide film immediately and give you the pictures right there. And so he shot these pictures of me. I still have my first pictures, which is pretty cool. And so he said, "Hey, I'm doing this job right now, if you want to do it." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." I was nervous, so
Wow.
well, yeah, no big deal. It's for Jay Byron's, just go over there, they'll do hair and makeup. So I'm thinking to myself, makeup, so I go sit down.
So
They do.
this is before you take the pictures to the lady.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't even. He just said, "Hey, do you want to do the job?" So,
Wow.
so yeah. So I end up shooting this job, and so I'm on my way home, and I borrowed my mom's car, remember, and I was driving home, and her license had, her registration was expired. I didn't know that. I get stopped by a police officer on my way home, and he's shining his light in my face, saying, "Boy, you wearing makeup?" I'm like, "Let me explain." So this is going back, I don't know, in the late 80s,
Yes.
like 89, 90. And so anyway, I started working quite a bit. And I think I was making about $300 a week, which was really good for me at that time.
Right.
And as I'm working with these photographers for Jay Byron's, one of them, he was this crazy guy from New Orleans who had a pet possum who he would play the harmonica to. And so he says, "Greg, you got to go to Michelle Pommier. You got to go to a real agent." So I said, "Yeah, but I feel like I owe this woman, He says, "Greg, just go and talk to her." So I go see Michelle. She offers me a contract right on the spot. She says, "Look, how much do you need? How much do you?" I said, "Well, 12,000 for a year, 12,000." So she kind of giggled. She said, "No problem." And so my first week with her, I made $6,000.
Oh, wow.
And then next thing
Wow.
you know, I was in Europe. And
Now, what'd your parents say when you go from looking for your dad a gift?
yeah, they weren't completely sold on the whole thing, but they were proud. They were like, "Hey, this is really interesting. The fact that he's just gonna, go off and go to Europe." Now I went to Europe. I was in Europe for school for art, and so this was obviously totally different. And so there I was in Paris, and at that time I had just gotten married to my childhood sweetheart. And so we went over, well, I went by myself. She met me over there, and then we were in Europe for about almost 6 months. And, I was just working and meeting clients, getting agents. One of my agents kept pulling me to Italy and in Milan, and Milan started to become kind of my go-to. That's where like they really, that's where everybody really embraced me in Milan. And so I started doing, 3 months in Europe, 3 months home, 3 months in Europe, 3 months home. And my wife stayed at home. She was working, no kids yet. And so I was working 6 months in Europe and 6 months home. And I did extremely well. I was working with every major designer. I was in all the major magazines, Woman Vogue and, Vanity Fair and doing billboards and doing campaigns. And I'd come home and then when you're working in Europe and you're doing all the big designers, you come home and then that's where all of that pays off because then all of the catalogs want to use you because you're being so successful in other places. And so, yeah, I rode that wave for over 30 years. And that's, that's what I say. It's a interesting thing. When I look back, I say I was really just going with the flow. I mean, I'd be in Milan. They'd say, Greg, we want you in Marrakesh. And so I'd say, okay. And you'd be in Marrakesh. I say, listen, you got to go to Oxford in London. You're shooting a job there. Okay. And, just kind of go with the flow. And I was massively successful doing that with that mindset of going with the flow. And later in my life, I feel like I lost that, which was very interesting because it was like, why are things tough? Why am I struggling? And how do I rekindle that flow again? And it's part of that is being young, you know. I think when you're younger, you have less things that you're just kind of like, hey, man, this is new experience. I'll do it. And that going with the flow was a big part of the success. And so I really look at, if you want to look at like different acts of your life, I look at modeling as that act one, even though I had so much before that.
Right.
But I look at that as a true act one that really set the stage for my life. Raising my kids and my family, building a house, living in South Florida. We built in Weston. We were in Weston for 26 years. And then over that time, that's when I started to get into personal training because obviously fitness and health and wellness has always been a part of my life. Going back into the modeling thing, people think I'm a fitness model or that I was, and I wasn't. I was very much a fashion model. But with that said, I mean, I was lucky enough to have a relationship with Men's Health magazine, and I ended up doing more covers of Men's Health magazine than anyone in the history of the magazine. And
Wow.
so I did over 20 covers in the States and over 60 covers, worldwide. And so Men's Health, along with many other clients, became, a very big deal for me. So that's where people thought, oh, this guy is a fitness model.
Right.
And yes, fitness is my life and it's always been in my life, but fashion was really where I had made all my money. And
Now,
then
you are to me the antithesis of what I think about in that world. As far, and when I say that, I'm not talking about the way you present yourself, but you're down to earth, you're humble. That's my experience with you. Do you think that hurt you at all, or is that reality in that world? I mean, were you rare, or is it what TV puts out there not really what the modeling world and high fashion and all that actually is?
yeah, it's first of all, it's really hard work. I mean, people laugh at that. They think that it's not. It's really, really hard work. I mean, you're hitting the ground and you're doing work. I mean, if I go to a new city, I've had apartments in New York. I've had three different apartments in New York. I had an apartment in LA. I had an apartment in Milan, in Paris. And when you get into these cities, you're hitting the ground running. And it's not like today where you have a phone and you can see where you're going. I mean, you're pulling out maps, you're trying to figure it out. You're seeing clients all day long. Those are long days. I had apartments in Germany. Germany was a really big place where I got a lot of clients in Germany for some reason, a lot of catalogs. They were doing really big catalogs. The fashion was in Paris and Milan and New York, and then the catalogs, a lot of them came out of Germany, a lot in Switzerland, and of course in the States. But I think I think the secret sauce is being humble,
Mm,
maintaining that level of being humble. Not everybody is that way. A lot of people party, a lot of people let the business kind of take them for a ride. For me, it was always a business.
mm.
So if I was going on a trip, I wanted to leave my home with my family as late as I needed to, and I would want to get back home as soon as I could. So if we finished a job early, I wasn't sticking around and partying. I was getting on the next flight home, and I treated it very much like a business. And I think that really contributed to the longevity that I've been able to have in the industry. And with that said, I mean, yes, there's a few of us dinosaurs left, some of these old guys that, but for me, it was time to hang up, you know, the the wig and all the tight shirts and
Now, were you into
seriously, I
fashion?
mean, does this look fashionable to you? No, I'm not comfortable unless I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. So no, I'm not into fashion. I mean, the really cool thing is had very good relationships with Johnny Versace personally, with Dolce Gabbana, with Gianfranco Ferré, with Donna Karan. I mean, I literally work with these people firsthand, and so I respect that tremendously. But I most people say, "Oh, did you get all the clothes?" No, I didn't get any of the clothes, nor did I really care to have the clothes. I mean, I'm not really into fashion. I am just a what you see is what you get kind of guy. And it's a journey, and we're all in this together. And one thing with me, and this, Pastor Troy, more than anybody probably, because we work together, is I'm very empathetic.
Mm.
And so I really care about people, and that otherwise I wouldn't have gone into that second act, which is, personal training and truly helping people to become the best versions of themselves and help them find their health and listen to, help them, listening to what they have to say and working them through a lot of things other than just fitness. And so this has been an amazing journey for me as a personal trainer. And I was lucky enough in South Florida to manage the Rock's gym for 3 years and rub elbows with all the actors that passed through there and the athletes, and it was a great experience. But it was time for me to kind of pick everything up and move out to Colorado from sea level to 9,000 feet. Here I am in the mountains, freezing my butt off. So
Yeah, it's a little different out there in the mountains in the cool air.
yeah.
Now, so you go from fashion modeling, and then like you said, you were in men's health, and I guess would you call it fitness modeling as well? Is there such a thing as that, or?
Yeah, there's such a thing, but no, I honestly, it still is in a way, Men's Health was very different than a lot of the other men's, bodybuilding
Right.
magazines. Men's Health was kind of like a GQ in a way. So
Mm,
they still were talking about fashion and fitness and health, and so it wasn't for necessarily for bodybuilders. It was for the average guy who just wanted to have men's health. And so yeah, in a way it really was still fashion. Like I was doing their fashion guide. So on the front cover they'd have me on the cover with my shirt off as the representative of Men's Health, and on the back of that magazine once a year I would be there on the cover of their fashion guide. And so I still was immersed in the fashion. So I wouldn't say that I never considered myself a fitness model. Was really, and people didn't really quite understand that until they like see my scope of work, and most of it
right.
was fashion. But yeah, I think that Men's Health was a really amazing relationship to have, and I wrote my book through Men's Health. I had my column, so I was doing a lot of writing in the magazine. So that column became the top three most popular columns in the magazine, called Muscle Chow. And it was every month I would talk about food, and then I would do a recipe and then talk about how that recipe could help you in whatever that might be. Fat burning, for hard gainers, how to gain weight, for guys who need to lean down. Each month was something else, and so that was really great because that got me started in my writing, and I
Mm.
just really enjoyed that. So
Now, let me a little, I guess this be on the gossip end here. Working in Men's Health, did you find that most of the folks that were involved in it took their health serious, or was it a job for folks? I just think it'd be interesting to know if when people get into that industry, like many other things, it can become just a job or it become a lifestyle.
yeah, they actually were pretty healthy, and this is before we had like CrossFit, and those kind of things. So this, you had a lot of functional training back then, and you didn't have any of the, like now they have men's physique, and some of these, and women have figure. They really didn't have that back then so much. So it was just guys that were working for the magazine, staying healthy. They were, and they knew about health, which was
Mm.
really refreshing. So, like the editors that I worked with were pretty well versed. So rather than me just sitting here saying, "Hey, this is what you need to do," we would have good collaborative conversations that would bring the best out of a story, or in the magazine. It would really, truly trying to help guys, and so it was a really nice relationship for a very long time.
So let's talk a little bit about health. We got about 9 or 10 minutes left here. I know if folks want to see your physique, I'm sure they can go online, and I'm sure there's plenty. There you go. What is the key? I mean, because over all these years, you've kept this physique, and working out, the nutrition, how does all that work to be able to not only be healthy, but to look healthy? Because, we see in bodybuilding, sometimes people look really healthy and then they, die of a heart attack at a very young age, as opposed to someone who is not only looks nice in their physique and the way they present themselves, but is also pursuing health. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's tough because everybody is an individual, and everybody's going to have their own place where they're starting from or where they currently are. So I think that it's of course healthy. It's trying to get like as simple as possible, be as consistent as possible. I know I'm making these sound like, oh, they're just easy, check one, check two. Obviously very challenging, or everybody would be doing it. So it's getting simple. It's eating, we call it like eating to the target, eating things as close to their natural source as possible, which means obviously you always have heard at the grocery store, eat the perimeter rather than the center of the aisles, because the perimeter is where more of the foods that are perishable. The center of the aisles is where you're going to have more of the manufactured, the dry stuff, the things that are like dry carbs and so forth. So talk about eating as close to the source, meaning like a lot of plants, a lot of vegetables and fruits, a lot of whole grains, and then of course healthy meats. I usually say like white meats, whether it's like eggs. You could, if we go to dairy, you think of like a Greek yogurt, has a lot of protein, and then turkey, fish, chicken, and then very lean red meats. I limit my red meats, but it really is getting simple. Simple will get you the results. And then you have to be consistent, and you want to drink plenty of water. So you want to get off any sodas and the things. So we're getting away from the things that are manufactured, processed, all that stuff. So that's going to help you tremendously. And again, when I talk about being consistent, it's in your fitness routine as well. So do you have to get in the gym? No, you don't have to get in the gym. You could do something as simple as walking every day to start, and let it begin there, or have that as part of your routine. But once again, it's consistency. To do it on a daily basis. When I was in South Florida, I would get out and I walk anywhere from 4 to 6 miles every single night. Like, I'd usually get out about 4 o'clock, because I'd finish my work in the morning hours. I'd finish probably about 2, 4 o'clock. I'd get on the road every single day. I didn't feel good unless I was out walking on that road anywhere from 4 to 6 miles. And I'm telling you, it'll change your body. And not only that, but it's so good for your brain because it really helps you work through a lot of things. You'd be amazing how you'd be surprised how it's like you're walking and things are coming to you. It's very inspirational and it allows you to leave things behind you. So walking is an amazing place to begin. And then, of course, getting in the gym and body shaping, depending on if that's your goal. So again, I look at this as trying to be as simple and as easy as you possibly can do this. And obviously, everything that ties it together is being consistent. But with your nutrition, try to make it as simple as possible. There's one thing that I tell people who are really starting off and they're like, well, how do I start? And one of the things I'll tell people is do my 6-point plan. 6 things. You wake up in the morning and you have water and coffee. I mean, most people want to have their coffee. And then I do a protein shake. So I usually do a protein shake mixed with water or almond milk about 10 a.m. And then I won't eat again until lunch, a little bit after lunch. So I'll have a salad. And then after that, you kind of get the munchies. So then I'll have a Greek yogurt and apple. That's the 4th thing. Number 5, a sensible dinner. And number 6, tea before bed, herbal tea. So I'll tell people to do that for like a week to 10 days and let me know how you feel. You don't have to think about it. You got 6 things to do. That's all. You can't go away from it. You don't need to do more or less. Do those 6 things. And you'll be amazed how you'll feel in as little as 6 to 10 days.
I guess, so one of the mistakes you see people make is just they make it too complex to continue.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, I'm bored. I need more flavor. I got to make these recipes. They start looking, and then it starts getting to where they're using more ingredients. They start to pull things in that aren't so healthy. And then, that's where kind of you start falling back into your old habits again. And so I know it sounds kind of boring, but it's amazing how you start to just kind of gravitate to it and say, you know what, this isn't so bad. Right. I mean, a lot of the clients that I work with, so they'll start and say, there's no way I'm doing that. And then, 6 months down there, I'll say, no worries. Let's just train. You just do this, do what you're doing and just train, So we'll train and then they'll start to get into it a little. They start to see some results. Hey, Greg, what were you talking about? And then I'll say, okay, look, what's the worst thing you're doing? I say, well, I like to have I like Diet Coke. So I drink Diet Coke at least 2 a day. Okay, cut it to 1 a day. And then they'll do that. Then they'll start to, and it's like, okay, so now make it 3 times a week you can have Diet Coke. Just doing one thing. Right. It's amazing. Like all of a sudden things completely start to change. And then you see them 6 months from then. And then all of a sudden they're doing the things that we had talked about a year ago or 8 months ago that they said they would never do. So right. It's like, are you an all or nothing person? That's why I said everybody's different. Some people aren't that way. Some people like to do things slowly and systematically and don't want to be rushed. Other people they want to jump off the cliff and just get right into it. And so I understand that that's part of what I do as a personal trainer, working with people, is understanding, being empathetic and helping work with these people, work them through some of these things. But you have the ability to do it on your own. You really do.
That's amazing. I always think, that's a great gift that, everybody advertises in whatever they do, a special plan just for you. But you really did that. And I think that grace and that belief that success gives birth to success is true, and that you've seen that over and over in people's lives. Now, we're about out of time, but I do know you've got a new project that you're coming up, and we're going to have you back to talk about that when you're down here in person. But tell us just a little bit. I know you've been working on it for a while, about what you got going and what it is.
Yeah, it's a ingestible. It's a powder. So I wanted to do a different delivery system for this kind of a product. It's an antioxidant, and my new company is called Avedon Essentials. So it goes back to my beliefs of just the essentials. So I don't want to tell people to do a bunch of things that they don't need to do. It's like, listen, you just want to do the essentials. And so you can really maximize your benefits from that. So it's my first product. It's an antioxidant, something I've been working on for 25 years, believe it or not. I haven't been sitting there trying to like in the laboratory for 25 years. It's just something I've been wanting to do for 25 years. And I finally have the means to do it. And I'm massively excited about this project. I'm so excited for everyone to try it. It tastes good. It's a vanilla caramel flavor, and you put it into a very small shaker cup, and you can mix it with your favorite almond milk or oat milk, water, and shake it and just kind of sip it. It's like a little shot, and it's got your antioxidants that you need for that day. And I'm telling you, my prediction is when people start using this product, they're going to feel a difference within a month of using this product. And that's me really going out there and saying something, because that's not easy for a product or a supplement to promise. And I'm not saying I promise it. I'm just saying that you're going to feel a difference. I really do feel that way. Right. So I'm super excited, and I look forward to being able to come back. So I'm thinking that we should have this thing launched sometime in January, the new year. New year, new you. Right?
That's there you go. I am excited about it because I do know you well enough to know that you wouldn't promote something that you truly didn't believe would make a difference in people's lives. So, bro, we have been talking for about 20 minutes, and I want to invite you back when you're in town, because I'd love to, so much more. I'd love for folks to get to know about you and get to know a little bit more about the product and give them an opportunity. What's your Instagram address so they can follow you?
Well, I've got Gregg Avedon, just at Gregg Avedon, GreggAvedon. That's my main one. And then, hey, I've got one that's Avedon Fittest, which is at Avedon Fitness. And if you scroll back to the first post, I've got 21 days with Avedon. I do nutrition. I do my 6-point plan. I do all the workouts. I show you recipes, all for free. And it just start with day one. And if you're motivated, just follow each day. I do like videos for each day. I do the workouts each day. I do recipes. I show you recipes. I show you the food. It's fail safe. If you do it, you're going to get results in 21 days. And so I say that as an advertisement, but it really isn't. I mean, it's just sitting there on my Instagram. So Avedon Fitness. And heck, if you want to have fun and see my old modeling pictures, you can go to Avedon Model, and you can get a laugh and see me. And, all my Men's Health covers, and you can see me when I was a youngster, and all the way to like photos, even current photos, which is pretty interesting.
Now what's the name of your books?
Well, there's Muscle Chow. That's and so it has over 150 recipes in there. And my other one is the 14-day Get Lean diet. And that one is for those people who were interested in how I would get ready for a photo shoot for Men's Health. It's 21 days of me getting ready for a photo shoot. But to tell you the truth, you do the 21 days with Avedon on Avedon Fitness. Again, completely free. It's just on Instagram. Right. Go back to my first post and just do that. Guarantee you can have your money back if you don't.
There you go.
I was just thinking, I know we got to go, but I was just thinking back when I was doing vlogs, I think we actually went to the grocery store and I shot a video with you, and you talked about how to shop and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if those are still up on YouTube, but
anyways,
that was fun.
Yeah, they were helpful for sure. Well, it's great to have you, and thanks for everybody that's watching and listening today. Be sure and follow Gregg, and we'll update you here as soon as this product's available, because I do believe that it can make a difference in your life. And hey, 21 days, send us the pictures. We'd love to see that transformation and celebrate it, because that's the whole reason we're doing these podcasts, and really everything else we do is because we want you truly to succeed at what God's called you, equipped you to do. So, hey, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you next Thursday right here on the Troy Gramling Podcast. God bless, and have an incredible day.